WHPR 88.1 FM, and you are officially in my house, hosted by T. Carlita. All right. Listen, on today's guest in studio, legendary, extraordinaire. They say he's a legend. They even say he's an icon. I got Hump the Grinder sitting waiting. Gonna tell his stories about his legendary DJ status. And we're going to talk a little bit in a little bit. Just also want to let you know that today's playlist comes from London and Detroit. And this week's Techno Talk segment will feature Carl Craig. And you have been listening to Only Love Can Break Your Heart by Masters at Work. Masters at Work mix by Saint Etienne from London. Let's Go by FCL. And right now, you're going to hear Change Is Coming by Detroit's own Delano Smith. And right after that, we're going to talk to Hump the Grinder.
waiting, I'm 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 waiting.
And I was waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. Thank you, Delano. Oh, sorry about that. We're starting the show all over again. All right. So listen, Blacktony Horton was scheduled guest tonight, but he had an emergency situation and gave me a text and said he wasn't going to make it on the show. So, it's always nice to have a DJ close by on a music show.
A fill-in guest. Hey!
Who knows how to work the microphone.
All right. Yeah, well, that's the microphone.
All right. So, gosh, Hump the Grinder. I feel like you should be wearing the headphones, not me, man.
Well, I was just had them on for the hair wars around the world.
I know.
But now I'm in the hot seat.
You in the hot seat.
Yeah, right by the skyline, Detroit
Right.
City.
Yes.
We're in Highland Park, and it's all Detroit.
Yes, sir. So look, thank you for being the fill-in guy today.
Hey, no problem.
I appreciate that. But no, seriously, I said it, anywhere you go around the city of Detroit, they know who Hump the Grinder is. They know that he's a legend. They know that you are an iconic figure in the city of Detroit. So let's just kind of talk about Hump and how you got in. First, let's talk about how you got in the business.
Okay,
of that.
I always loved music. I was a DJ in the boys club on Collingwood and Petoskey back in when I was a little fella.
I was going to say, how old were you?
I was doing PSAs, don't play with matches and stuff like that, and playing records, 45s back then. I'm old school. And started playing in school, DePores,
Mm-hmm.
college. I got a radio show in school in Oakland University.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really where Hump the Grinder, it was Hump the Grinder, the Sweet Spot Finder back then. That's why I've run into people right now. When they say Sweet Spot Finder, I know they go back from Oakland days.
What spots was you looking for?
Well, Hump the Grinder, the Sweet Spot Finder. Anyway, that's a long story. Ain't got time to get into that right now. But anyway, we had a good time doing parties, GDI Society, Intrepid, so all the social organizations on campus at Oakland. And then I started doing parties for other schools like the Deltas of Michigan State, the Sigmas, the Eastern, and different colleges, just going around doing the college circuit. And started, when I left school, graduated from Oakland, I started getting real serious into the clubs, getting busy. And started meeting a lot of the techno boys. I didn't even know it was called techno then. I was just playing their music.
I know, and you kind of opened the door for me to be able to do this show because Hair Wars Around the World, I'm usually on the other side doing the camera.
You're director and camera person, right?
Yeah, and you decided to go from 2 hours to 1 hour, and I just sat back and I was waiting to see if anybody was going to take that spot. I'm like, somebody got to come behind Hump's show because it's already there. And I waited and nobody came. But even out of professional courtesy, I asked you. Didn't I ask you?
You sure did.
Real
politely.
I was like, do you mind if I take that spot behind you? He was like, sure, we're already there anyway. So that was cool. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's a good show. It's like two of Detroit's underground movements. Back to back every Wednesday. Yep. Hump day. Yeah, that's what it is.
Oh yeah, the
Wednesday.
camel wasn't on this.
Oh no, we brought the camel. He's parked outside.
He's
it's not snowing like it was yesterday. You believe that?
Man,
actual snow.
No,
but we broke the record. The biggest snow season since ever.
Yeah,
we beat the record from 1880-81.
See, my status
I wasn't around then, but
Mother Nature. She was waiting for all of the records to come through, and she saw she was short by a hair.
Right.
And she was like, I ain't going out like that.
Almost May.
Yeah.
It was snowing.
Prince said it never snows in April.
I had put my snow boots up and everything.
I know. Remember that song by Prince, It Never Snows in April?
Doesn't rain in Southern California?
Yeah,
no. Oh, that was something else. Okay, sorry.
Yes.
I'm supposed to know my music. Tony.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
So speaking of music, now first let's talk about the guys, you being a director of the In My House show, you're getting a chance to see these DJs.
Oh, that's a cool thing. DJs I heard about, never met, love their music, heard the names, but a lot of them I never met until they come into the studio.
Yeah, and
that's one thing good I like about your show. The actual guests come down and talk.
Yeah. And
you can see them, get the reaction, get to meet them, and get to hear their stories. This is where great music is played and true stories are told.
That's right. That's the phrase. So let's talk about great music. Now, you a beat man. You know the I don't even know how to say it right. The
BPM,
time.
the beats per minute.
Yes,
yeah,
thank you. That's the word I was looking for.
And you know, beats per minute, it's really strange. Like back in the day when we all had our vinyl, you know, we had our records and we would go to the club, and I used to sometimes check out some other DJs' crates. Mm-hmm. And they had them all lined up by the numbers. You know, one guy said, I'm going to start here at 107, and I'm going to play all the way up to 137. You know, everything in line is already, but there's a trick to this. Beats per minute, just because you have a record, my favorite beat is probably back in the day before New Wave and the techno really got busy. My favorite beat was probably 124. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of records in that, you know, before it got faster than that. But a lot of times you think of beats per minute, you can't just play all 124s and expect the party to be grooving, because there are different tempos in these beats. You know, I used to play the bass, so I'm into the music, and I would listen to the bass and the drums pretty much on every record.
You know, it's funny because I'll hear something, or you'll play something, or we'll hear something, and you'll be like, that's 124. That's 128. That's 126.
Yeah. And, you know, you can mix a little bit to it because, well, you know, I know my records. I mean, I've been playing, DJing for so long, you kind of know exactly. You can listen to a record and know about where it would fit in. And it's not so much the beat, because the beat is like a hand clap. If you count the beats per minute, you know, but you got to get deeper into just the beat. You got to get into the groove. I try to mix, like, bass runs, you know, like bass lines and, you know, to feel the groove of a record, you know, just because it could be jazzy, but it might not fit into this funk. I like fast funk. What I call it, people say techno, house music. I always call it fast funk.
And a few of the guys that's been on the show have used that fast funk that
fast
you
funk,
used too.
Yeah, I even put that
so
on
I'm
some
convinced
of my,
now. I'm convinced.
It's fast funk. And the whole thing about it, you know, fast funk makes you get down. See, there's a difference between a person dancing and a person getting down.
What's the difference?
I'll tell you the difference. They dancing. They just out there loving this song. It's a beautiful song. You can listen to it on the radio. And when people ask for those kind of songs, when they say, "Can you play this?" I say, "You better go out in your car and listen to JLB. You probably catch it, because you won't hear it in here. Because I'm gonna play records that's gonna make you get down. And when you're getting down, it's a different way of watching the person dance. You know what I'm saying? You can look at your dance floor. I know a lot of DJs pay attention to their floor. That's what they do. They looking at, they feeling the crowd, you know, and the crowd starts feeling you. And you see people really exerting themselves. You know you're doing a pretty good job. And every time you mix a new record in, you're always supposed to add people to the floor or to the aisleways, wherever you're at. You never should lose a crowd, you know. So there's a way of playing records, and programming has always been important to make sure you blend in the right records at the right time. You have a new record to break. How you going to get this record in, you know? So you have different methods. You know, everybody has their own way of doing it. I know I had my way of getting new records in. By the end of the night, you might be humming that tune out the door. Right. Because, you know, it's in your head, the way you mix it in, and where you get people to dance. And you have to also have a good ear for music. You can't just play anything because you think it's a good record. You have to kind of know what your crowd really gets down to.
Right.
And make sure they enjoy what you're playing.
Now, you know, I'm a student at University of Michigan Dearborn, and Mike Collins over there is too. And you had our professor on here, Jim Gilmore.
Yeah,
so we
Professor
got to
Gilmore.
give a shout out to him.
What's up, Professor Gilmore?
He's raised my blood pressure this semester, actually. But I've been working on an assignment. We're doing our screening on Monday. And I'm doing a documentary film called Sounds of the Underground. And researching...
Wow, that rhymes.
You think? And doing that documentary and doing this show, I've had to really dig deep and study this music. And every single artist or DJ or producer always mention the same person, and that's Electrifying Mojo.
Electrifying Mojo.
Every single one brings his name up. And
well,
I know
I have
that
to bring it up too.
And I know you know him.
I was my man. He's still around, but not on the radio. You know, I used to open up for Mojo a lot of times. I used to do a lot of, I was a warm-up act. I wasn't the person that came to see, but I would open up and warm up the crowd at the State Fair shows. I did a show with him and James Brown in Ann Arbor. That was about the highlight of spinning to me.
Right.
You know, just warming up the crowd. Mojo was so cool. I went into the studio with him a lot. He did a lot of my promos for me for the club, Studio 54, and all the parties we did. And, you know, he asked me one day about New Wave. You know, he had been hearing about New Wave, and, you know, I didn't break New Wave music. I played some of it, the B-52s, Devo, and Think Pink and all that stuff. And he asked me to bring down all my new wave records to the station one night. And he wanted to get a feel of what his audience, you know. He said, I'm going to start playing these new wave records. I'm going to have the crowd, you know, the audience tune in, call in.
Mm-hmm.
He said, it's a new wave or no wave? What a real deep voice is a new wave, you know, Mojo.
Right.
Really basic. And everybody was lighting the phones up. It's new wave, Mojo. It's new wave. So,
wow.
you know, everybody went nuts off this new wave music. And, you know, Detroit, you know, being a predominantly black city was a little bit weird, different for us to like this music
and
so much. We like rock and roll.
I was going to ask that same
We love
question.
the new wave. It was B-52's concert came at the Grand Circus Theater.
Wow.
I was there having a ball, and it was
Did
a
you wear
it
your
was,
pink hair?
No, I had a streak all the way down into a ponytail, but I was just like normal compared to the people that were there that night. That was wild. B-52s made me dance in the chair.
Wow.
Yeah, so, Mojo, he did a lot for music, you know. Too bad the radio can't be like that anymore.
Exactly.
Because he definitely controlled his program. And he was the one. He came to the club a couple times, you know, don't announce me, man. You know, I don't like to be seen him. You know, well, all right. But he was there
so
to
how
see
do
the
you
people
think,
dance off this music.
So how do you think that, like, I know you were playing music in the clubs and you played, you know, fast funk as you call it, and a few other people called it. But how do you think he decided to even get into the techno format of things?
Well, because he felt it. See, it's a feeling, you know. They say that funk and techno and how it's if you into music like Mojo was into music so heavy, you know, he'll bring all the Prince tunes and George Clinton, you know, the funk, and then when the Detroit techno came out, you know, it was a deep feeling, and him being in the music the way he was, he knew it was real. It wasn't commercialized, you know, it wasn't manufactured. It was some real gut feeling music. Yeah. And that's why Mojo expressed himself, and he had the, you know, the freedom to play this kind of music where you can't just play on the radio station today. You're more of a robot, you know, pushing buttons and playing with the program. Folks say you better play this on that computer screen.
Right.
But Mojo was feeling it. If he wanted to play an hour of Luther or Prince or whatever he felt like doing, he would do it, you know. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that was Mojo definitely grabbed that music and ran with it.
Now let's fast forward a little bit to another. You are an icon in the city, and this other person in the techno business is very much an icon as well, and that's Jeff Mills, the Wizard.
Jeff Mills.
So,
yeah.
Where did Jeff Mills come from?
Well, he came from probably elementary school. He was so young looking. We had him in the club I think he was about maybe 17 or 18 years old. He looked like he was about 12.
You know, he would get young too.
Yeah, he does to this day. He would kneel on the stool, on the bar stool. We'd get him a bar stool, put it in the DJ booth. This is at Studio 54. And he would play on his knees, slinging these records. You know, everybody tells stories about Jeff Mills, the Wizard.
Tink
you know,
Thomas
how he
was
would
talking about that too.
Oh man, I mean, he would go through so many records so fast, and the guy was so good. You know, when I was on the Fresh Fest back in like 84, 85, 86, and in between breaks, I would come home and I would tell Jeff, I said, man, Jeff, you just as bad as some cats on the Fresh Fest. As a matter of fact, you better than most of them. Grandmaster D from Houdini was really the only one to me that had the tricks that Jeff Mills was doing. And he was the one, you know. I used to kick it with Jeff, go down to his crib sometime and just watch him work. It was amazing. And I'm so proud of what he's done over the years.
Yeah, he's over in France real heavy now, and he just did something called Man from Tomorrow. And we're like when I showed him with the Montpellier orchestra.
Right, yeah, that was something. Yeah, playing his music.
But you know now he plays. He always has 4 and 5 machines that he plays off of. But if this one from France, they're in the floor on the stage, so he's squatting down on the floor playing music on the floor.
He's very athletic.
Obviously.
Yes.
But Hump the Grinder.
Well, it's been a pleasure to have me on. I wasn't even supposed to be a guest today.
No,
I'm shocked that I'm in the guest seat.
You are in the hot seat.
I'm having a good time.
Hey,
Can we go longer?
You got to sign the board.
I got to sign. Where's the board? Right here. I got to sign the board. I'm official. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So, in the meantime, you know, Blacktony, like I said, he did have an emergency, but I still have Blacktony's music, and we're going to play that still.
Oh, you don't have my mixes?
Nah.
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry.
Hey, Hair Wars May 4th. Be there.
Yep.
Adoba used to be the High Regency. I know I'm going overtime, so I'm talking fast. Be there. Salute to the troops.
Keep going.
Peace.
Keep going.
I can keep going.
Yeah.
Starring some of the hottest hair entertainers in the world.
Good job.
Fast Freddy's going to be there, too, dancing.
All right.
All right. Thank you. They're coming from all across America as Hump the Grinder presents the 2014 Detroit Hair Wars, the Salute to the Troops. Sunday, May 4th, 6:05 p.m. at the beautiful Adobe Hotel, formerly the Hyatt Regency in Dearborn, starring some of the greatest hair entertainers in the world. And they're about to tear that stage up. The Hair Wars Salute to the Troops, on a mission to entertain troops of military bases around the world. Sponsored by Ampro, Pro Style, and In My House Techno Music Show. Hump the Grinders Hair Wars, Sunday, May 4th at the Adobe Hotel in Dearborn, Michigan. Get your tickets and reserve your hotel rooms now for the big one. For more info, visit the website at www.hairwarsustour.com.
And now, Techno Talk, featuring Detroit legendary Carl Craig. Sponsored by www.colorblindmagazine.com.
It wasn't all silk scarves and cashmere sweaters. I started out like any kid back in the day, loving music, you know, but from being a kid coming from Detroit, it was probably kind of unique, especially since Young Boys Inc. and, you know, all the drug trade was coming up at the time. I remember when I told my mom I wanted to be a DJ, I was like 10, and, you know, I wanted to be like a radio DJ, but who would have guessed that, you know, I get to travel the world, and I've been to almost every country and definitely to every continent in this little blue marble that we live on. I knew I wanted to be an electrifying mojo. That was the whole thing. And then it was Prince. Then I wanted to be Prince. But I don't know about the other kids in the neighborhood. You know, we all listened to Mojo. We were all influenced by him, and he really, you know, he was like the John Peel of Detroit, you know. But I'm sure in every major city you had that guy, you know. Even on WKRP in Cincinnati, it was Venus Flytrap or something, you know, whatever. Being influenced by that music of the time, having things like Art of Noise and in the 80s, and when Herbie Hancock did Rocket, and just the whole movement of electro music from out here in California with Egyptian Lover, and even Ice-T's first record was an electro record. And of course that was around the time too when DJing, like actual, you know, party DJing and scratching became very, very big. And when I saw that, it was all over, definitely. You know, I wanted to scratch, I wanted to play synthesizer, I wanted to do all that stuff. You know? These are all experiences that I had that kind of molded me into making electronic music. My first actual experience on a record was Strings of Life, 1989. I think it was called Strings of Life 89, which was a remake that Derek and I did of his original song, Strings of Life. We did that in England. And I mean, my first real amazing experience concerning this. And I love the fact that this is the case. Is, you know, I went with Derek to do a couple of rhythm performances in London supporting Inner City. It was at the Town and Country Club. It was like 3,000 people in the place. It was the first time I ever seen anything like that. And I got to do this performance, and then I went to Belgium and recorded my first EP, you know, with RNS Records, which Transman ended up putting it out. So, you know, it was just, at the time, it was that fight, you know. stay in school or go to England. I was like, I can always go to school, you know, this is my opportunity to go, you know, and it was the right time. I started Planety in 1991. I started it out of the desire to control my own destiny. I love Planety for what we've been able to do and for how we function, and of course I've had delusions of grandeur, so you know, I would love to see it go a lot further. What I'm attempting in Detroit is to make stronger connections within the youth. I started a foundation, and also I'm a commissioner in Detroit on the Detroit Entertainment Commission. These are ways that I'm looking to have Planety react and integrate with, you know, the new talents that come from Detroit by giving them something that is less manufactured and more real to what Detroit is about, or you know, at least my experiences with Detroit were about. I am a creative guy, and unfortunately by being a creative guy, sometimes the ideas flow, but the process doesn't. My love is seeing all the flashing lights on synthesizers and, you know, pressing buttons and these kind of things. If you're in it for the love, you're in it for the love. That's always been my thing. That's the first total satisfaction, and everything else comes after.
That was Techno Talk featuring Carl Craig. So we're going to close out the show with a music segment here. This is called Boston by Detroit Swindle. And then after that, we got Diffraction by Truncate. And then after that, Feel It by Rick Wade. And if we have time, you'll hear a little bit of See This Way by Jeff Mills. Right now you're seeing a little bit of the master Carl Craig at work, and how he rocks a crowd and makes it move, man. Carl Craig is bad. I can't wait to see him at Movement Festival again this year. Carl Craig, definitely a Detroiter. Y'all heard him mention Electrifying Mojo, and he also brought up Young Boys Incorporated, so you know he's from the D. All right. That is our I would love to watch Alan Esther, man. That dude knows he can get down. We're gonna get Alan Esther. We're gonna find him too and get him. Next week we got Stacy Hot Wax Hell gonna be on the show too. That's Raybone Jones. He been on here already. He been in the house. Rick Will Height. Got to see you too, Godson. Also wanted to give a shout out to Marius Beignet. He supplied these series of photographs. He gets out and gets around. He shoots all over the place. You see the happy smiley guy with the camera. Summer again one day. We're gonna be able to dance and party down at the festival one day. Let's hope that the snow don't come back in the middle of July. Came in April though. We sure wasn't expecting that. 70 degrees one day and below freezing the next. To let those ladies like have a good old time before I cut them off. They was jamming a little too hard. So look, that's my show for this week. As always, you will see shows on the playlist on Facebook and the website. Woo! Previous shows can also be found on our website, www.inmyhouse65.com. I want to thank my family. Thank old Hump the Grinder hanging out in the house, signing the board and telling those lovely stories. J. Michael Collins on camera. Well, Hump the Grinder is usually the show director, but he was director from the hot seat today. Khalifiel was handling the director's seat today. I want to DJ Truncate as always. And my sponsors today, Hair Wars US Tour, Colorblind Magazine. To all my Facebook fans and Twitter followers, keep following. And next week, I've got a hot show lined up for you, man. And studio guests, I got a producer. His name is Derek Terrell. Stump the House Party's own D. Jones, who's also manager of a true pioneer and often considered the godmother of house, Stacy Hot Wax Hell, will be here too. If you are a DJ, producer, or an artist and would like to be on the show or submit your music, send it to my email, inmyhouse65@gmail.com. And to keep up with the show, you can get to our website, www.inmyhouse65.com. Enjoy the rest of the music, and I'll see you next week. I got to go.
in my heart I do. Now I don't smoke, to tell the truth.